Love your top. It's very like New Year's.
That's why I wore it for this whole thing. I was like, "I'm gonna get the sparkliest thing.
Yeah,
We're gonna
it's
have
perfect.
fun. Get the sparkly earrings." I didn't
Did
even go out last night. I just went to
I
bed
was
at, like
about to ask. Yeah, same. We got the kids to bed, and I think we were asleep by like 10:30.
my husband came back from Australia, yesterday. Was it yesterday morning? So he was, on the completely opposite time.
We did a chosen press tour in Berlin and then Amsterdam, and it was amazing. But then I got back and was like totally jet lagged. But I also, I guess, caught the flu from someone over there and then gave it to the whole family. But
That was
we're
my Christmas too. The day my husband left, my dog had to go to the ER, and we had this whole week of just he's here, so this is good.
what kind of dog do you have?
He's a Chihuahua. He's a little cheap, cheap. I have two. Let's see if he'll
Okay.
come up. He might come up and talk to you. Let's see. Oh, here he is.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hey, hello.
So yeah, childhood. Where'd you grow up? What was childhood like for you?
I mean, it was I have a Persian father and then like a Native American Mediterranean mom. So two different cultures. She's like more French than anything, and French versus Iranian women, or Iranian cultures. So that was always fun because I got to experience both cultures, but also they clashed a lot in terms of just growing up. But I had a twin brother, and he's my best friend, and then an older sister who took care of me a lot. So it was great. I had great siblings. My parents were wonderful. It was funny because when I was growing up, I was kind of like a super nerd. I was super studious. I didn't like my twin brother at one point was the cool kid and didn't talk to me in seventh grade because that was like not okay, which is totally fine when you're growing up through puberty. It's like, but yeah, like I like woke up every morning and watched Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, knowing it by full, like I can quote the whole movie still, every morning before like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. And woke up 3.5 hours early just to watch the movie. Taught myself Quenya and Sindarin, like was totally like
Whoa.
yeah, I was a unibrow. It was very cute. My cute days. And then, and so that was like, I was very introverted at that point because I wanted friends and I wanted to be like my twin brother, but like, people didn't really like me, especially since I did so well. I was a very big teacher's pet and I wanted the top of the class and all the teachers loved me. So it was hard, especially when you have a cool brother and a cool sister. And then in ninth grade, I like blossomed suddenly and I didn't know what to do with that. So that was also hard because I kind of went through my high school years not really knowing and getting a little taken advantage of in certain situations. And so, but again, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Having different cultures on either side of the family, were there any like aspects of either of those cultures that either you like really appreciated and embraced growing up, or on the flip side, was there anything about either of those that like you tried to distance yourself from, or that you weren't as fond of?
Yeah, I think for me, it's funny because my dad was so supportive in me getting a career and being a career woman, whereas people usually see the Persian or Iranian culture, especially with what's going on nowadays, and identify it as, keeping women closeted or keeping women in the kitchen or, very restrictive on their freedoms. So I appreciate having a father who was super supportive and you can do anything you want. I mean, he was Middle Eastern where he was like, you can do anything you want in the world, Bubba, as long as you're a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
So that's actually what inspired me to go to law school in California. I got a full scholarship and I did a program in entertainment law so that I could do auditions during the day and be at law school at night. Got my degree, became a lawyer, and started doing litigation, which is like an actor in court, basically, because you're just theatrically performing for everyone in the room. And then that's when I started booking. So I got to quit being a lawyer. But I don't think I would have done that without that kind of pressure. And I'm really glad I did because it made me realize, like a Gal Gadot or a Rebel Wilson, like they're lawyers, they can have their own production companies, finance their own pictures, star in them, sign the contracts, and know what the contracts are saying, and rule the world.
Yeah.
So that's my plan. But yeah, so I appreciated that difference in culture. But I also loved, Persian culture is so fascinating, whether it's the dancing, we would grow up going to New Year's. Persian New Year's is more of like an April, May thing. And it's called Nowruz. And we would do like the Persian dancing. And there's just something seeing that, being able to see that. And when I was growing up in Arizona, so you didn't really have a strong Middle Eastern, society. It was very, very white growing up. And I think we had like one African American in our school and one Asian American. And I was friends with both of them because I was like the Persian girl. And also with the Native American side, we didn't see any of that either. I wish I had more of that culture. I wish I was submersed in it. A lot of my family was in Oklahoma, it's the Choctaw Band. And I wish I had more experiences out there, just like I wish I had more Persian experiences. But I really think in my adult life, I started to research and investigate and kind of make sure that that was prominent in my life. Not that I have children to teach it to. I have a fur baby, but he has worn some cute things that are both Middle Eastern and Native American. Going back to my journey, when I was at my like end of the rope of like, I can't do this anymore. I told my husband, I can't practice law anymore. I booked my first co-star, and I had been out here trying, and like for some reason Hollywood didn't want to give me any auditions. Like we tried everything, new headshots, new reels. I'm very proactive in my work. So I would, try and be in a play. I would change up my reel. I would pay for everything. Thank God that I was a lawyer because I could afford it, because being an actor is very expensive.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, but that's the nature of the business. And I booked my first role, The Dropout, on Hulu, and I quit the day I got the offer. And ever since then, I booked, literally, it's been 10 projects in a year.
Wow.
Thank God. So I think that was kind of what I needed to just put my trust in God and just say, like, let's do this. Universe, here we go. And it all happened. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm very grateful for my father for having me do that, because I, am able to support myself now with my acting career. But also in the beginning, it was a big risk, because it was like, I don't have a paycheck coming in anymore.
Like you said, I'm very proactive in my own career as well. And I think it's because of all of the, failures earlier on, or the opportunities that just like slipped by, or that were really close and didn't happen.
Right.
And I got so tired of relying on others and waiting around for like auditions and all of that. So I started a few years before The Chosen. I just started every single day emailing like casting directors and producers, and I have like a template. And it's like just people or directors of like some indie that did well at South by Southwest. And I'll just email them and be like, hey, I really love your work. I'd love an opportunity to audition for you one day.
Yeah. Oh,
And
they probably love that, especially the
it's,
directors like never
yeah,
hear from people, you
right.
know.
I wanted to ask, so when you got The Chosen, one, did you already know about it at all? And two, um, just like what was your experience like? I know that coming into a new show, or coming into a show as a new character that's, the show's already been established, people have relationships. It can I've done that in the past and felt like I wasn't part of the group, like you're like the new kid.
Yeah.
So what was your experience coming into this show?
Um, well, I knew about the show. I was really excited. It's actually like my mother's favorite show. And when
Oh,
I
wow.
booked it, she started buying like the car decals and like all the merch. And I was like, let me get you the discount code. Discount code. And so I was really excited. And the character specifically, I was very excited about, just because of the amount of, you'll see the struggle and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
Which when we do this follow-up podcast, we will talk more in depth about, because I think there's a lot to talk about in terms of struggling and relating to the struggles that she had in different ways. But the first day was like, okay, here we go, like flew in to this, remote area, and everybody was there because we shot the scene where everybody was there. And I was like, oh, I hope they like me, because, and it was this big moment too. So it was like, there was a lot, I think a lot of pressure, but I'm such a goofball, which is why I love being who I was growing up and not being like the popular girl or whatever, because I think unfortunately that can add a lot of, it depends like how your personality can adapt to getting attention.
Yeah.
Where I wanted attention. Like I was like, I'm an actor. Let me show you. Let me dance. Let me do things for you.
Right.
And no one would give it. So if anything, it's allowed me to become this big goofball. And I just loved everybody. I remember talking to like all of you guys when we were sitting in a tent and being like, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was just, relating to my husband being a WWE wrestler, like somebody knew like him and what that was. And they're both Australian. And,
I was about to say George. I
yeah,
knew who you were
George.
talking about before you even said someone new, because you said WWE, and I was like, oh yeah, it's got to be George that knows.
Yeah, yeah, he's Australian, so it's so funny, and like just everybody, and then we all became friends on Instagram, and
Yeah.
like instantly. So, and it was like they didn't know. I think a lot of people didn't know how big my character was in the script. So, like you said, sometimes when you go onto a set and you're a small fry, you might not be given that much love. But for The Chosen, I didn't feel like that at all.
Our characters didn't have any direct interactions with each other, but we were in some group scenes together that you got to do a lot. And without giving anything away, we were all blown away by your performances. And we're just so excited. Like, you came in without like any hesitation and just jumped right into some, difficult scenes that are really big and important for the whole season and show. And it was just so impressive. And I am glad that you never felt outside of the group or anything, because all of us, there was a few of us that were here at the beginning, and then every season we've added like more and more characters. And that's one thing I'm most proud of when it comes to The Chosen, is how welcoming everyone is, and how instantly, as soon as there's a new cast member that's added, they're
Yeah,
like part of the family. And it's even like day players. Like, there's day players that we worked with in season 1 that we all still keep in touch with. And
I know, I love that.
it's a really cool group. And I think a big reason is, we've both talked about having, like a long journey to get to where we are now, and
Mhm.
so much rejection. And it's like everyone in the cast was kind of in the same boat whenever we got The Chosen. We were all
Right.
like at the end of our rope, and some people were about to quit acting. And
Yeah,
then we got the show, and we're all kind of on this journey together, and we're all experiencing so many of these things for the first time together. And like the premiere, for instance, that was most of our like first time at a red carpet premiere.
it
um
looked so fun. I
and
was like,
it was
"Oh, man,
amazing.
I wish it had been in Los Angeles." That's
I
crazy.
know, right? But before I let you go, I want to ask, I end all of my podcasts with this question, and that is, what do you love most about yourself?
Oh, I'm gonna cry. I don't know. That's probably what I need to figure out for 2023. Probably just that I'm a big goofball. That like, I could break out in song and dance in the kitchen at any random moment or on set, or that as much as, kind of growing up as a people pleaser can take a lot of a toll on you. I think that it's turned me into the woman I am today, which is more of a strong but still goofball. Like I think that's what I like, being a just me. Having no pretension or hopefully that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And it's good because, like you said, a lot of the roles you play are a little heavier. So I'm glad that you have that balance, that you're able to, have that fun, goofy side, and then go to work and, cry your eyes out.
Yeah, or
So
say
yeah,
flaming horrible things. I'm hoping I can be a goofball in 2023. I will put that out there. Like, I totally related to She-Hulk, which I wanted to play
yes,
my whole life, but Tatiana Maslany is a genius. And it was great to see her in that role because she was like a lawyer, but she was also a super goofball. And like, that's my personality totally. Like, the writers on that show, have you seen She-Hulk?
yes, of course, yeah,
Incredible. Like the writing, the directing, the acting, everything in it was just I just love that show.
yeah.
And that's kind of like who I am. So it's nice to be able to see, you don't have to play the lawyer that's like the whole time. Like there is an opportunity to kind of get that, you know, smushy realness into it. So
Yeah.